Hi, I'm Colton with Porsche Centre Calgary, and here today with quite an impressive machine. This one is a 2022 911 Turbo. So let's talk a little bit about what that was in general, or what that is in general, and then we'll dive into this one in particular. So the 911 Turbo, of course, quite a special thing. The 911 by itself is, is a car that people aspire to, and has kind of been the benchmark in the sports car segment for 50 plus years. But it's kind of, along that life cycle, they introduced the 911 Turbo as kind of the halo version of the car, and the way I like to describe it is that once you're at the 911 Turbo level is when it kind of changes from being a sports car into being a supercar. The performance is pretty insane. Visually, the big difference is slightly different front end, front bumper is different, but in the rear you see those big side intakes, the wing on the back, the whole rear end is really quite different, has a lot more presence than a Carrera would have. It's a whole different thing and a whole different driving experience. So this one is what they call the 992 generation of 911, introduced in 2020 for the Carrera S models, Carreras. The Turbo was introduced a year later in 2021, and this is now a 2022 example. This generation uses a 3.7 liter flat 6-cylinder engine, turbocharged, of course, twin turbo, as the name suggests. And it has, what does it have? 573 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque, which is enormous. But even beyond just the numbers is how well the car uses that power. Turbos are all-wheel drive and just insanely fast. Porsche's number will be in and around 3 seconds, 0 to 60. When you look at various magazines that have tested it, they'll do a whole lot faster than that. Generally speaking, the numbers that Porsche publishes are kind of worst case scenario, so you can always do at least that. But yeah, you'll find third-party tests tend to be even quicker, which is wild. They'll all have the launch control, by the way, to maximize that acceleration run if that is something you want to test for yourself. Standard content on the Turbo, and that's another thing worth mentioning about the Turbos in general. They do come with a little bit more standard equipment than a regular 911 would have. So for example, they'll all have the full leather interior. You can select which color you'd like, but it's always going to have a leather dash, doors, upper and lower dash, all that kind of stuff. Seats, of course, so that's a nice kind of bonus. They all will also have the Porsche torque vectoring, so it can send the power not only between the front and rear wheels, but also side to side in the back, sending more power to the outside wheel as you're coming around a corner to make you just hug that corner that much more. What was some other stuff I wanted to mention in terms of standard equipment? Rear axle steering as well. So at a low speed, the rear axle turns the rear wheels at an opposite direction from the front, so it shortens up that turning circle, makes it super easy to park and navigate tight spots. But then when you're going at higher speeds, it'll turn the rear wheels in the same direction as the fronts, giving you that greater high-speed stability. Kind of the idea is it makes it feel like it has a short wheelbase when you're at a low speeds, and it makes it feel like it's got a longer wheelbase at high speeds. Quite effective and standard on the Turbo. So those are some options you don't have to look for on the option list, as they're actually not options, they're standard equipment when you come to the Turbos. I think that was kind of the significant one. So they'll also have the Bose sound system and the GT Sport steering wheel, which is a little bit smaller and sportier looking. I always recommend optioning that stuff on the other cars. But yeah, when you're looking at these, there's something to be aware of, especially if you're comparing, the different cars. Maybe you're looking at a Carrera and it seems like it has way more options than this Turbo you're looking at. Maybe it's because that stuff was actually already in there as standard equipment. But let's talk a little bit more about this guy in particular. So this color, new for the 992 generation of 911, is called Gentian Blue Metallic. Quite a nice color. It's a new blue, as I mentioned. Kind of has some purple to it, changes a little bit in the light. It's been quite popular. And then this specific example, too, I should point out, is already fully wrapped in paint protection film. So a lot of our customers will put that on, but most people will put it on kind of covering the full front end, which is great. We'll do it right up to the top of the hood, front fenders, front bumper, and the mirrors and that stuff. But with this one, the full vehicle was wrapped, so you don't have to be too scared driving it out in the world about getting rock chips and things like that. It's fully protected, which is awesome to see, and some added value when you're looking at a used one that already has that on there. Sticking with the outside, these wheels are the standard wheel. They are the 911 Turbo wheel. obviously. But the center crest was upgraded just to be the full color crest. Black and silver would have been standard. By the way, in this generation, the front wheels are 20 inches. Rears are actually 21. They're offset a little bit in that way, wider in the rear as well, of course. And then you may notice some sensors on the front, circles, stuff going on up there. That's because this one has Inno Drive and adaptive cruise control. So regular adaptive cruise has been available for a while on the cars. You can set your following distance from the car in front, and if they brake, then the car brakes automatically to maintain that set gap. When you upgrade further to the Inno Drive, it's just a little bit more advanced and takes more things into consideration. So things like, what the speed limit is where you're driving, what the topography is like, what the weather is supposed to be. There's a bunch of really neat stuff that it considers. And you can kind of, at least on highway, separate yourself a little bit and just enjoy the drive. Other stuff outside before I move in. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? You may notice there's a little bulge under here. That's because it has the surround view camera. So you've got a camera on the rear of the car, always, the rear view camera and sensors front and rear, but this one's upgraded to have the full surround view. So you get a camera underneath each side mirror and one on the front as well. Stitching those images together, it gives you kind of a top-down view so you can see all the way around the car. Makes parking super easy. It's a feature I love. And the headlights too are the top level headlights. They're the Matrix LED headlights. So with those you have active high beams, but not just, leave your high beams on and it'll turn them off when the car's coming the other way. There's 84 individual LEDs per side, and it turns off only the specific ones that are affecting that car, leaving the rest of your high beams still on. So yeah, your late night visibility is exceptional, and quite a neat thing to see in practice. Talking about it's one thing, but when you're driving, it's quite impactful and really, really cool. Other than that, outside, power folding mirrors. You've got the button to fold those in if you're parking into tighter spots. And then you may be able to see the roof is the glass roof. So, of course, lets a little bit more light into the cabin, but you can also, it doesn't just tilt, it does open. You can air out the cabin as well. We find that's definitely something a lot of people look for on the second-hand market. So nice to see it equipped on this one. I think that just about sums up the outside. So let's move inside. This one has full leather, as I said, all the turbos will have. This one's in the slate gray, which I think pairs quite nicely to the Gentian blue on the outside. And then some other upgrades. The steering column was added in leather as well. And I should have pointed out too, it's not just gray, it's gray with the chalk contrast stitch, adding just a little bit of extra contrast, makes it feel a little bit more premium in there. I love that leather steering column. Some people will say, you open the door and it's all this nice leather, and then you have a plastic piece that kind of looks right at you when you open the door in that steering column. So adding leather there just makes it feel a little bit more complete and a little bit more premium. So it's a small thing, but I always like to see it. Also, the 18-way adjustable seat, so the most adjustable. You have variable bolsters there on the seat base. You can suck those in or out. Same with the seat back. You can have it hug you a little bit more tightly or loosen up. And the 18-way has a little bit more shoulder support as well than you would get on the 14-way. You get driver and passenger memory settings with that stuff as well. And then heated seats are standard on the 911s now, but ventilated seats are not. However, they were optioned on to this guy. What else do I want to talk about inside? Oh yeah, sticking with the seats, the Porsche crest embossed on the headrest. Another subtle touch that I always like to see. Lane change assist, meaning blind spot warning, optioned as well. Another thing that's come to be a must-have for most people. And it has the Porsche active suspension management. They'll all have that, but this has the lower version, so it sits 10 millimeters lower than the car would as standard. I think that just about sums up the options I wanted to talk about here on this one. But the other thing to talk about is the fact that it is, of course, a Porsche approved, certified pre-owned vehicle. So that means it comes with extra warranty. A brand new car gets 4 years or 80,000 kilometers. With this one, that gets extended to 6 years and unlimited kilometers. So the original in-service date for this one is December of 2021. So now it'll have warranty until December of 2027, and there's no kilometer limit on that. So actually buying this one gives you more warranty than you would get buying a brand new car, which is pretty cool. And yeah, some added value there. Mileage only about 2,500 kilometers, so hardly even broken in. And of course, significantly right now, if you were to come in and say, I want a new 911 Turbo, please, here's my deposit, I want to place an order, it's probably 2 years before we can actually fill that order and you can pick up the car. So the beauty of this is you can have it right now. You could come down today and drive it away tomorrow, basically. And it's in pristine condition, next to no mileage, and the whole thing is wrapped. You're basically getting a new car and avoiding all that weight. Not to mention, the luxury tax, which doesn't apply on a pre-owned car. So really, really cool opportunity. When we're done with this one, we'll move it upstairs into our showroom, so you can come down and take a look. If you're interested, please do just that. Give us a call or pay us a visit. Thanks a lot for watching.